The following is a presentation of the IH Sports Network.
High school football is on the air. The Oneida Indians, the Scott Highlanders, with Tim Smith, Rick Keaton, and their entire broadcast teams. This is Tennessee's most complete high school football coverage.
Sponsored by Twin K, South Fork Physical Therapy, First National Bank, El Rey, Lumber King, Ray's Axe, Danny's Drugs, TNT Car Wash, Tommy's Motorsports, and Mountain People's Health Councils.
Produced by the IH Sports Network, Friday Night Football begins now.
Good Monday evening, everyone. Welcome to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. We are live from the C. Michael Lay Technology Center in Helenwood. Thank you for joining us this evening. We've got a full 2-hour slate ahead of us, a lot of guests to get to. We're going to talk about soccer. We're going to talk about high school football. We're going to talk about middle school football and probably more as we go through this evening. Alongside the voice of the Oneida Indians, Tim Smith, the voice of the Scott Highlanders, Rick Keaton. I'm Ben Garrett, and again, thank you for being with us. Coming off of Friday night, guys, we saw Oneida pick up their second win of the season, 13-0 over Eagleton. Scott High fell to Clinton. I got my first brain freeze moment out of the way 2 minutes in, so I'm good. 48-13 was the final in that one. And, Rick, I'll start with you. Scott High looked really good defensively for much of the first half, created 3 turnovers, and it's not like Clinton just gave them the ball. I mean, they legitimately created 3 turnovers. That game was tied until late in the first half. Once things started to fall apart, though, Clinton pulled away quickly in that one.
Well, he certainly did. Part of it, and as I was charting the game the other night, each team had 8 true offensive possessions in the first half. That's a lot when you combine everything in there. It just shows you that the turnovers that the Highlanders were creating from Clinton, it gave us possession. Unfortunately, we couldn't do much with it except, 3 downs, 4 downs, punt the ball away, basically. So the defense sort of, was a leading factor for us against the Dragons the other night. We forced 2 interceptions and 1 fumble recovery from Clinton. So we had the turnover advantage, but we did give up the ball on an interception and turnover ourselves. So the offense trying to get on the field, trying to put drives together, it was very tough the other night against Clinton. As advertised, Clinton had this really good defensive line. I'd like to say I saw that again on Saturday night, but Clinton had a good defensive line, and it was very difficult for us to run the ball. We probably had more negative yardage plays than we had positive plays, especially in the first half. And just finding field position is very difficult. And until their offense can grow and get a little bit better to maintain that, and I said it the other night during the game, I talked to Coach Hall through the week. I talked to him on Friday night. He said, we've got to be consistent. Our offense has got to get the ball. We've got to put together drives. We've got to burn time off the clock. It didn't happen the other night. And the score was a little lopsided because Clinton, they beat up on us. When I say beat up, it's not so much the score and everything else. I mean, they were a physical team. And even though they were 0-2 coming in, we sort of didn't think that was going to hold true. But they were very physical. And we had several players that sort of limped from the field to the dressing room after the game. And so Clinton's physicality, we really couldn't match it. And so Clinton had the edge, and we're hoping for better things, I guess, this week against Knox Central, Kentucky.
Yeah. So a number of players limping around in that game. Keegan Bowling at one point, Micah Bowles, Tyler Atkins, Lucas Bowles, who was our player of the game and will be with us later tonight. I mean, so many players shaking up. But I think
Mason Akers out.
Mason Akers, yes. Yeah. I think everyone with the exception of Mason went back in as the game progressed. Any update on Mason Akers?
I do not, because I came here instead of going to football practice this evening. So.
All right. By the way, we should remind everybody that our first segment, as always, is brought to you by Little's Drugs and Fountain. We appreciate them for their sponsorship of the Roundtable. Little's Drugs and Fountain, guys, located near the Highway 6327 intersection, more than just a drugstore. They've got soda fountain. They've got ice cream. They've got food. We've got a Little's employee sitting right over here, just off camera, of course, but don't let that dissuade you from going there.
There's one other thing I want to make. If you're just starting to watch the show, I'm not suggesting you shut us down and leave or whatever, but the first football game on the synthetic turf is happening tonight at 6:30. It's a JV game, but that the Highlanders are hosting against Wartburg. If you get tired of us at 6:30, you now have another place to go. So it's the first official game on the turf at Scott High.
Yeah, and should mention that too. We originally were planning to be there tonight. That's where we were scheduled to be tonight with the roundtable, and then that game being tonight, we didn't want to interfere with that because we didn't want to make them move the game over to the track so that we could have the field. So.
Not at all.
Tim Smith, Oneida on Friday night, defeating Eagleton 13-0, and again, it was Oneida's defense that set the tone, and it seems like that's probably going to be the theme throughout this season.
It was, and you talk about injuries in the Scott game. We had injuries in our game. I think that was the thing that was foremost on the minds of most people at the end of that. And just to give you the latest on that, Xander Lau, they think it's an ankle sprain, so Xander went out early. But thankfully, an ankle sprain is something that he can hopefully return sometime this season off of. Will Jeffers was injured. We don't have an update on him. It looked a little more serious, and he was going to be checked out. I got an update this afternoon that there wasn't an update yet on him. And the same thing with Brock Ryan. Brock was, he had been alternating snaps with Gabe Brennan at quarterback, and Brock had thrown a touchdown pass in that game and looked really sharp. And then right before halftime, got injured on a run on his throwing shoulder. So he tried to go. He was warming up before the second half, and you could see he was in pain doing that. So I felt like the Indians did a good job first. Now, I would mention first, you all saw Eagleton the week before, and number 21, Navarre, had the big kick return. He had the big pass play. Navarre only took 2 snaps with Eagleton, so their offense was limited by him not being there. It was pretty clear. They didn't push the ball down the field very much. There was a lot of hitches and, in patterns, out patterns, but not a lot of pushing down the field, and they didn't have him there to stretch the field. Oneida took advantage of that and got up close, and, Grady Keaton did a great job. We'll see him, and he had 10 tackles, and they were throwing at him early, and he was up to the challenge. So, yeah, the defense did a great job. The Indians got the 2 touchdowns. The first one was just a strike from Brock Ryan to Grady Keaton in the end zone, and the extra point. And then Levi James had just a great run that almost should be a team-credited touchdown. If you saw that, there was 8 Indians packed together crossing the goal line at the same time. It seemed like after that, when the Indians were down without Brock, and in the second half, Eagleton was better defensively, but I think Oneida also was not trying to do anything too risky or impressive. They felt like they had Eagleton in check. And, of course, they were trying to move the football, but it just wasn't happening. Then Eagleton, late in the fourth quarter, really threatened the Indians, got down inside the 20, and we were able to come up with a 4th down stop and turn them away. And it was like that spooked Oneida into, okay, we need to make sure we move this football. And Coach Jimmy May went into what they've called the cowboy package of wing back on either side and a fullback standing behind him. And Eagleton had no answer for that. We were churning yards away at will. Probably could have poked it in again there at the end just because they weren't able to adjust to that, but did not do that. But it was a dominating defensive victory definitely for the Indians. And now they get set to go to Wartburg. And, Cofield put 60 on Wartburg, but Oneida won't put 60 on Wartburg. We go down there, and Wartburg is ready. Wartburg comes up here, and they're ready. A year ago at home, we were down 12-0, and Caden Rector got hurt. That's when Gabe Brennan came off the bench to direct a big drive right before the half. So it was kind of his coming out party. And if Brock's not able to go, it's going to be Gabe's show against the Bulldogs. And I fully expect an absolute battle down there with Wartburg on Friday night. So it's a region game, the first region game. So these all have been warm-ups, getting ready for this. And I mean, it's a big game. If you don't get the road win at Wartburg, you start looking at that schedule, and it's hard to find region wins if you don't get this one Friday night. No pressure, right?
Yeah, no pressure whatsoever. And Wartburg, I can hear Tony Lambert in my head talking about, boys, we better go down there and be ready. And traditionally, yes, they have always, doesn't matter what the records are, they play Oneida so tough, especially at their place.
Yep, they will.
So should be interesting Friday night. Scott High, by the way, will be playing its first home game of the season Friday night, first game on that new turf against Knox Central Kentucky. You probably mentioned that, and I've probably already forgotten, but that's okay. I'll mention it again.
Mention again.
We're going to take a break. When we return for our second segment tonight, we'll be joined by Birchfield head coach Jesse King as we talk about middle school football right after this. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network, live from the C. Michael Lay Technology Center in Helenwood, along with Tim Smith and Rick Keaton. I'm Ben Garrett, and we're joined now by Birchfield head coach Jesse King. And Coach, first of all, we're going to talk to all of our middle school coaches over the next 3 weeks. Hopefully we'll be able to get Huntsville next week, and I haven't mentioned this to those guys yet, so we're going to put them on the spot. And then Jason Terry, who's always up to come on the Roundtable. You know, he'll be here 2 weeks from tonight. We don't have to worry about that. Coach King, I haven't got to see your Birchfield team yet. I've heard some impressive things. We're going to get an opportunity to see you a couple of times, starting with, I think, next week. Starting in 2 weeks when you play Huntsville, and then the week after that against Oneida. Both those games will be at Scott High. But just tell us about your team so far and what kind of season you're off to.
So far, it's been a pretty good season, a pretty good start to the year. I feel like we got a pretty good group that came back. We got about 33 kids, 13 eighth graders. We got a group of kids that put in the work and ask questions, try to get better every single day, want to get better and want to learn, and just be a better football player all around. Down the road, we have some newcomers that came out this year that have never played before, but they're already proven to be very valuable as starters for us. So we're feeling pretty good where we're at. We got a big game this week. This one, if we can secure the win this week against Oliver Springs, we can lock up the region, which would be a huge thing for us. Something that I think it's been 4 or 5 years since Birchfield's done that, and you know we're combined now. We're Winfield and Birchfield as one. My Winfield kids have never had that opportunity. They never felt that, winning a region before. So it's a big opportunity for our kids.
So that's a luxury. You're at the midway point of the season, and you're talking about being able to secure the region. I mean, that's got to feel good to be in that position.
Well, playing your most important games that early on in the year can be tough. We've been fortunate, I guess. We got the win over Jellicoe a couple weeks ago, and so we feel pretty good about Thursday. But yeah, I guess it can be good, but it could be bad too. We could be on the other side of the coin. But.
So this is your first year at Birchfield, correct? You were at Winfield prior to this.
This is actually this is my first year as head coach at Birchfield.
Okay.
We were there. We combined last year.
Right.
2 years ago, we had 12 kids, and we were kind of in a situation of we may not have football, and we talked with parents and with the which Director Hall and our principals and things, and we decided to make that combine, and so. That's where we're at now.
And so I was going to ask you, big change this year. Sort of. I mean, you would think it would be a big change to go to two middle school programs, but really, I mean, there's not that big a difference in that you guys and Winfield combined last year. Fairview and Robbins have been combined the last 2 years, and now they're combined again with Huntsville now. But what has that change been like? I mean, have the kids bought in, and what's that been like so far?
Yeah, honestly, it went a lot better than we thought in the beginning. I think. The biggest thing is, these kids are still playing, soccer, basketball, things like that against each other. So we, kind of fearful at first about just trying to get them to be a team. But, camaraderie's been great. It was even great last year. They're really good with each other. And it's went a lot smoother than I think we expected. I think the biggest thing for me, is trying to deal with two different buildings, two different principals, two different groups of parents and stuff, and I can imagine three, but it's I can't knock on wood. It's went okay so far. I can't really say too many negatives about it.
As I get ready to flip this to Rick, let me give you my headset. I think we're having some issues with your headset, so throw mine on and see if this is better. Okay. Better?
Oh yeah, I can. Well, I wasn't hearing you before, so okay, I guess it is. Yeah.
Rick?
Had a chance. I went up to Winfield. That's where Jesse's at during the day. I went up a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
We talked for 15 or 20 minutes, so I learned a little bit about what you want to do with your football team this year. Offensively, it's more of a pro type set. You've got the receivers, you've got the quarterbacks. That's the kind of offense that you want to instill. Is that what you're most comfortable with?
Yeah, I even back to the first year at Winfield, I think, well, at Winfield I had to be a little more, I guess the word I would use is creative. We didn't have the kids to just out muscle anybody.
Right.
So we had to really spread everybody out, thin out the box, and try to just find the numbers. And I also, at the time that I got in it, was kind of hanging around the Sky High program, and really kind of fell in love with what they were doing, and throwing the ball around and incorporating the quick game, getting the thinning the box out, and so that's what I like to do. Now this year, I feel like we've kind of adjusted a little bit to where we are still spread, but we're running at you a little more than we did last year. Last year, I feel like we threw the ball a lot more, but we're still pretty predominantly spread with what we do.
What do you do defensively? What defense do you like to start in, and
Well,
how do you year from there?
I think defense is one thing that you can't just sit in one thing. You have to adjust to how the offense is playing. We're very multiple. I think you'll see us at times. I think we started the year off in a base 3-4. Last few weeks we've been in a 40, and and it dictates, with the coverage dictates that too. With the box, we go quarters, we'll go cover 3. Very rarely will we get man, but we will get man. This week we're with the offense that we're going to see from Oliver Springs. We're more of a 4-4 cover 3, so we're bringing our strong safety down into the box. So we like to have a variety of what we're doing. And again, going back to my time getting into it and learning from Sky High, I still met a lot of great people out there, and great dudes. Bradley Stevens is one I mentioned, a great friend of mine. We talk football daily. And so a lot of what we're doing actually is what we took from what Sky High was doing with him. And I got Phoenix Norris calling defense. He played in that system, so it's just pretty easy to change in and out.
Who else are your assistant coaches other than Phoenix?
We've got Adrian Sexton, who is actually, I have called him my offense. He also works with the offensive line, defensive line. Ryan Sexton works with the running backs and D-line. Brian Golden. Actually, he helps Coach Norris with receivers and DBs. He also helps him out in the weight room. He's been a huge part of the weight room. Jacob Story, added him. See, I work at Winfield, so that's been the thing too, is being able to have someone in the building at Birchfield. And Coach Story's been great. He's helped us immensely. He's working with running backs and helping me with linebackers, and so it takes a committee, and I can't leave out Don Massengale either. Don Massengale has been there, I think, longer than the program has been around.
Exactly.
So if I don't mention Don Massengale, I will be in trouble. He does a little bit of everything out there. He's a huge help.
We're going to see your program in a couple of weeks. We're going to broadcast one of the games on IHSN. Who are some of the players that we should be watching for? Just anybody, offense, defense, just throw them out, Jesse.
We got, I can't name them all. I know our quarterback, Jeremiah Myers, returned. He's an 8th grader. He's having a great year already. We've got some talent at the receiver position that I think are going to play big parts. Connor Privet is an 8th grader for us. Bentley Stevens is a big receiver for us. Elijah Wilson plays the Y, also plays outside linebacker. He's doing a great job. Andrew Ellis is a newcomer, but he's been great at our Z and also at our strong safety. Our defensive line has, I think, been the biggest game changer this season. Our defensive line has gotten, I feel like, much more athletic, and they just get downright nasty, just to be honest with you. Kennick's Parton, 8th grader on that line. Ruger Bolin, who also plays kicker for us too, is on that defensive line. Jackson Terry. I'm trying to name Tylen Silcox. I said I wasn't gonna name everybody here. I am naming
Well,
pretty much the whole
you're doing
team.
a good job.
But we
Most
got.
of the time
I mean,
we
we
can't remember all of them. But
yeah,
that's great.
we've got. I mean, I'm proud of them. We've got quite a few kids that I think that that they stick with it. That they're going to be up here with you guys on Friday night or on Mondays talking about their Friday night game. So I'm excited for the future.
The combination of Winfield and Birchfield going together, is this something that you see now? This works. It's going to be a sustainable project, I guess.
I think so. I think I think that moving forward it needs to. I think that one, the old saying, you can't really put the toothpaste back in the tube. We've done this. I think we need to stick with it. But two, I think that the biggest thing for me, people, it's hard for people to relate with Winfield. I played at Oneida and played in a system where we didn't have 12 kids playing or 11 kids playing both sides of the ball, and when you have 16 kids and you're going up against 20 and 30 plus kids, it's hard to instill that mindset of success and expectation now, and it's also hard to hold kids accountable.
Right.
And now with the numbers that we have, by combining, I feel like we're able to hold them accountable. We're able to instill that culture of being successful and wanting to be successful. And now they have a mindset of, well, we expect to go in there and compete with anybody on our schedule. And that's something that I don't feel like we were able to do divided. I feel like united, we are much better.
It's been a promising season so far. Hey, guys, I know both of you know Jesse. Any questions?
I was going to ask you, what do you got to do to stop Oliver Springs? What do they do well?
Well, they have a really good athlete that they use in a variety of ways. He plays tight end. He'll jump back in the backfield, play running back, play the fullback. Sometimes they have him at wing. They are really good at off tackle, and they don't pull a lot, but when they do a tackle. We used to call it 8T tackle.
It's the offside tackle.
And they'll pull that tackle. They'll run some jet rockets. We have to be really good at maintaining the outside, and our front that I talked about, that I was talking about being so nasty, is going to have to play some good football. They're big. They're the biggest offensive and defensive line I think we've seen yet. But we're just going to have to be a little bit nastier. That's what we're going to have to be.
I know the high school team has really had a resurgence, and so I'm sure that
they have.
That it starts at those middle school levels.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Was there a high school coach that you had that you try to emulate, or you feel like was a big influence on you?
I think I had. I mean, I don't know what my kids or my other coach would say. I think there's a lot of coaches that I've been fortunate enough to play under or even work with or just be associated with that do things the right way. Yeah. I don't know that I wouldn't necessarily say there's anything I try to emulate, but I do try to just make sure that we are doing things the way they need to be done, and there's a certain standard that we need to hit. And I feel like that the coaches that I played for and that I worked with, they did those things, and so that's what I try to instill in my kids.
All right, Jesse, before we let you go, I got to ask you this.
Sure.
It's been 11 years since EA Sports had NCAA football. Now, we've had a month or so, a little over a month, 6 weeks or whatever, to experiment with College Football 25. So I haven't seen any streams from you.
Not done that. Yeah.
So you probably don't have time for that anymore. But have you played it? And what's your take? And if we were doing an IHSN College Football 25 tournament, you versus Tim Smith, who used to be hard to beat back in the day as well, who do you think would come out on top in that?
I'm going to say this. I'm a humble person, but when it comes to that video game, I'm unbeatable. I'm going to say that. I'm not going to share how many hours that I, as a grown man, have spent on that game. But no, I think it's awesome. It's a lot of fun to get to relive, the memories and stuff of playing that game. But no, I'm definitely playing it. I'd be up for a tournament. We could do. I think that would be a fun little get all the coaches, all the county coaches involved. I tell you what, a game one matchup of Billy Hall and Jeff Buttram would be hilarious. I'd love to see that get.
So who would win that one?
I mean, my mind tells me Billy, but I feel like Jeff's probably got some old school tricks or something. He played that game back in the day, I'm sure too. So I don't know. I think that would be a good coin flip.
So I'm told that that's what gets Tim by is the old school stuff, and that's how he survives and thrives on that game.
To be clear, I haven't played the new one.
Oh.
I still have. I've kept my PlayStation 3 active so that I can play the last one from 2013. I can still roll it out. So now I wouldn't have any trouble with any of y'all on that one. I'll just be honest with you. But on the new one, I haven't played it. So
To be clear,
Oh.
I've never played any of that. So.
I will say,
but I'm ready to practice and see what I can do.
I used to be a loyal watcher of Jesse's streams, and I don't know. I'm not going to bet against him, even if it's the old one. I'm not. And to answer your question, Rick, absolutely not. I will not challenge him because I enjoy the game, but I'm not very good at it. So no, I'll just play my little offline dynasty mode, and no way.
And I'll stick with tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Jesse King, head coach at Birchfield Middle School. Jesse, thank you for being with us. We're going to take a break. When we return, we're going to flip to soccer, and we'll talk to a couple of Oneida Lady Indians right after this. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. We are 30 minutes in. We've got an hour and a half still to go, and right now we're going to talk about soccer for a little while, and we're joined first by a couple of Oneida Lady Indians. We've got Larissa Jones, and we've got Cam Stiltner, Miss Scott County Cameron Stiltner, I should probably say. And before we talk about soccer, so do you feel like royalty?
No, not really.
Nobody's asked for your autograph in Walmart or
I
anything?
tell people I'm giving them out, but I'm just joking.
Can we have an autograph before you leave?
I mean, if you guys want to.
Absolutely. Okay. So it just worked out that you guys are the only two juniors on the roster this year, but you're also both playing keeper now, which is kind of new. You didn't start the season that way. So let me ask you first, is this a competition between you two? Are you battling it out for who's going to be the starter?
No.
Do you want to be the starter? Oh, yeah.
Do you
Put
want
you
to
on the
be
spot.
do you want to be the keeper?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just doing what I need to do for my team.
The diplomatic answer.
Right.
So, I mean, do I love it? I mean, it wouldn't be my first pick, but I'm doing what I need to do for my team right now.
Same.
Ah, yeah. So it's a safe answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys had whoever made your schedule, which I assume was probably Phil Newport, and he front-loaded that thing with a lot of really big schools. And so it was a little bit of a tough start to the season, but now you guys are kind of hitting your groove. Got 2 district wins last week, and Larissa, we'll start with you. Had to feel good, first of all, to get the win against Rockwood on Tuesday night. Then you follow that up with a win over Greenback on Thursday night, and so you're off to a great start in district play now. What's the mood of the team like? Are you ready to compete for a district championship now, you feel like?
Yeah, I feel like we're ready for it.
And what was it like, that first game? Because you guys hammered Rockwood. Okay?
Yeah.
And you didn't let up, really. Jumped
Yeah.
out, I think it was 6-0 at halftime, and then you just kept it rolling in the second half. Were you guys kind of venting some frustration there a little bit?
Yeah, we were needing the win. That was good for us.
How about it? What was it like to get that first win out of the way, get that under your belt, and move on from that?
I mean, it was really nice. We had been battling a lot of losses, so it was really good to just be uplifted by the win.
So, as a junior, this is your 3rd year. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You missed last year with an injury, correct?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
as a freshman, what position did you play?
Actually, as a freshman, I came in as playing like forward and striker, but I really played like anything my freshman year.
And
so.
what did you start this year playing?
I started out as center mid, so I
Okay.
really like center mid. It's probably my favorite position.
Okay, so that my daughter played mid, and that's what she always said as well. That was the best spot on the field.
Yeah.
How about it, Larissa? You played sweeper. You came into the season as sweeper. Am I wrong on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so and you've already said you didn't say. Cameron said that she probably wouldn't prefer goalie if she had her choice, but she's going to do whatever the team needs her to do.
Yeah.
I feel like you probably were thinking the same thing though. You probably prefer sweeper over goalie, right?
I do.
Okay, so I'm not going to tell you that, as you guys are getting into this season and it was obvious that you're going to have to find a way to stop the other team from scoring goals. And I'm thinking to myself, Larissa Jones probably more than anybody on the roster has got the wingspan to be a great goalie. Is that what landed you in the goal?
Yeah, that's why he put me in there.
So that is the drawback to being tall.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets you on the court in basketball, so being tall has its pluses
Yeah, that's
too.
true.
So how did this work? I'm curious because we've heard from the Oneida soccer players in a lot of positions move this year. There's been a lot of change, right?
Yeah.
So just take me to Rockwood, find out who started at goalie.
I did.
You started at goalie. All right.
Yeah.
So how did that go?
I mean, Rockwood, I probably saw the ball like max like 5 times, honestly. I mean, they're just not really that great of an offensive team. So
Right.
it's more like on our offensive side the whole entire time.
I see.
But, I mean, it was really nerve-wracking at the beginning, but, I mean, I got warmed up to it pretty quick.
Did you start it and finish there?
Actually, I played the whole first half, and then Larissa played the second half.
So is this kind of like Oneida's doing with quarterbacks? I mean, I'm not. I mean, I guess
Makes
I am
sense.
joking since you laughed, but no. I mean, is that the plan going forward? Are you going to
I mean, I
trade
feel like
halves?
I don't think so. I feel like the last 2 games we've had this past week, we've like kind of like switched halves, but I think it's like mainly going to be me the next few games because they're starting to get tougher and we really need Larissa in the sweeper position. So
Okay. So and as long as the defense holds strong, you feel pretty comfortable back there if they're just getting 5 shots on goal.
yeah, I mean against Greenback, I saw the ball way more than Rockwood, obviously, but I mean.
And how'd they do? How'd Greenback do?
Greenback, they're a physical team.
How many
they were
how
a
many
physical
goals did
team.
they score?
1, but
So-
it wasn't on me.
Yeah, that was on me.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, let's talk
Threw
about
under
that,
the bus.
Larissa.
I had to throw her under
She
the
seems
bus.
she seems
So-
very happy about the fact that
so Cameron's going to be in goal. Sounds like does that mean you're at sweeper where you want to be
Yeah, hopefully for now.
for now?
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So y'all are still finding your way, but so far you've got the district wins as you find your way, right? So that's a good thing. Everybody's excited about that. So who's the next big problem? Who's the team that's going to be the next big tough one to play?
Well, we go this weekend to Gatlinburg, and then when we get back from Gatlinburg, we play Oliver Springs the 17th, which they're going to be a little bit of a threat on the offensive side because they have twins that are, like, really good. They work really well together. So, I mean, I'm kind of nervous to defend that. But I think getting warmed up this weekend with the better teams in Gatlinburg will be good for me at goal.
So Larissa, as juniors, who's the leader out there? Is it a senior? Is it one of you guys? Who's the person that rallies everybody up and is most vocal and says we need to get together and get going here? Do you have
Probably
somebody?
Cameron.
Cameron, as a junior, she's doing
Yeah, I
that.
feel like she talks the most.
Now tell me this. So in basketball, when you were in basketball last year, who kind of did it last year in basketball?
Annalea and Grace.
Annalie and Grace. So somebody's going to have to step up this year.
Yeah,
Who do you think that'll be?
probably
Think it'll
Cameron.
be Cameron. All right. So let me ask you this: does she make you address her differently since she did win the pageant and things like that? Does she doesn't wear the sash when she's in the goal, right, or anything like that?
Nope.
No. All right.
I mean, I try to sometimes.
Yeah, if you had the crown on, to be an extra
Yeah.
thing they'd have to worry about. I think it's pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to continuing to watch this soccer season for you guys, and you just gotta stay healthy, right? Because I'm sure you're you're both a big part of what's going to be going on in basketball as well.
Yeah.
So, not that you know, didn't want to bring up the health thing, so but I did. So stay healthy. So who's next? Who's the next team you're playing? Oliver Springs is next.
We play Cumberland Gap tomorrow at
Okay.
their place.
They're always pretty tough.
Yeah, it's just always tough against Cumberland Gap,
Okay.
which
All right.
they lost their coach, so I don't know how good they are this
They
year.
lost their
but
coach, really.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Last
Yeah.
thing I'll ask: what's the biggest difference in Coach Newport and Coach Blevins to you? Do you feel like, Larissa? Is there?
Their coaching styles.
Yeah. What would be an example of a difference, though? I mean, is Coach Blevins quieter?
I don't know.
Yes.
Actually.
I feel like I probably nailed that one, Larissa. You can say yes. I think I'm probably right about that. What would you say is the difference in their styles?
I mean, their style is definitely way different. I mean, Phil is more vocal than Mr. Blevins, but I mean, I don't even know how I could define because they're just like so different in the way they coach. So I don't really know how I could like.
was
Has he gotten any yellow cards?
No, he's like very like I cannot get a yellow card. He's like he really takes that to the heart. He is not gonna get a yellow card.
which one of the
I've
two
already got one though this season.
Which one of the two coaches are? Which one was the more defensive-minded coach, and which one's the more offensive-minded coach?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like they're pretty both like Even, honestly. I mean, I feel like Phil is probably a better defensive coach because that's what he focused on in the boys, and he done really well at that. But I mean, I think it's pretty even.
So how did you earn the yellow card? We gotta know about this.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I was literally just going to shoot the ball. I was wing against what was it? Anderson County? I think it was or no, it was Cumberland County. Yeah, it was Cumberland County. Oh my gosh, that was an awful game, wasn't it?
It was.
But yeah, and I was going to shoot the ball, and the goalie came out, and we both just kind of collided, and oh no, it just they just.
And you got a yellow card?
You said
Yeah.
something?
That is unfair.
I didn't say nothing. No.
You just collided and you
we
got the yellow
collided,
card?
and I got the yellow card. Yeah.
So goalies are
Larissa, is that pretty much how it happened, or is she?
Yeah, that's what happened.
Wow, stepping up, protecting your teammate. I'm proud of you.
after she threw you under the bus. So we have well, first of all, let me ask you this. We've asked a lot of the athletes who have been on if they want to try to imitate their coach, and so far nobody has taken us up on it. Either you want to try to imitate Dave Blevins. Will you do it?
Larissa's definitely a no.
I didn't expect Larissa to, but Cameron, I got a feeling that she would do it.
I can't think. Like, what is something he says all the time?
I think Larissa's probably saving up. She's going to do it in basketball.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
it
if
would.
we have you back on in basketball, you will imitate Marv West.
I'm not making any promises.
That's not a no.
That's
not a no.
not a yes.
That wasn't a no, Larissa.
Hey, real quickly, guys, before we let you go, Cameron, I joked about at the start of the segment about getting your autograph and that sort of thing, but it is a big deal to win Fairest to the Fair, and you've got a big year ahead of you. You'll be representing Scott County in different venues. Tell us what your year is going to consist of.
I mean, I really just want to serve the community. Like, after I won, I was like, oh my gosh, I just feel honored to have this opportunity to just, serve the community, like I said. But, I mean, I have state in January, and I will have, 40 other girls competing with me. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like this year is going to be very fun to be Miss Scott County. I don't know. I really just feel honored to have this, role in my life now.
Now they didn't do the questions live, right? Did they? They asked
No,
questions
we
behind
had an
the
interview.
scenes.
Yeah, we had an interview before the.
What was that like?
I
they
was
tough?
really nervous. No, it really wasn't. I mean, I'm already a really outgoing person in my opinion, but I mean, it wasn't that bad. They just asked me stuff off my bio, so it was just about sports and what I want to do in the future. So it wasn't that bad.
Let me ask you guys this. So, Larissa, Cameron steps into the goal, starts playing goalkeeper, and you followed her, and you started playing goalkeeper. So since it's you guys here, what are you thinking? Next year, Miss Scott County pageant?
No,
No.
I don't
Just
like
stick to
talking.
sports.
Now that
Yeah.
was a no. She definitely took a stand on that one.
All right, guys. Larissa Jones, Cameron Stiltner, good luck against Cumberland Gap tomorrow night. That game will be at Cumberland Gap at 6:30, and good luck in Gatlinburg this weekend. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll switch to Scott High Soccer right after this. Welcome back to the Round Table on the IH Sports Network as we come to you live from the C. Michael Lay Technology Center in Helenwood. We want to thank Greg Bond and Leetta Boyd and the Scott County School System for allowing us the use of this facility. And real quickly, before we get into this next segment, let me take an opportunity to thank our sponsors of the Round Table, and they include Little's Drugs and Fountain, Twin K Construction, South Fork Physical Therapy, El Rey, Razax, Lumber King, Danny's Drugs, TNT Car Wash, Tommy's Motorsports, Scenic Foods, Mountain People's Health Councils, and First National Bank. And we're going to talk some more soccer now. We're flipping from Oneida to Scott High, and we're joined by a couple of the mini seniors from Scott High, Brittany Morrow and Autumn Brummett. Guys, thank you for being here. Before we talk soccer, though, Autumn, we're going to have to talk basketball. You play basketball, too, but yeah. Brittany signed last week, or didn't sign, but committed last week to Bryan College, where she'll be joining her older brother, Trey, who we all remember from his playing days at Scott High. And first of all, let me ask you, why Bryan? What led to that decision? I mean, I think it's an obvious one, but you tell us.
I don't know. It just seemed like the right place to go.
So how much of a factor was Trey being at Bryan? Not at all? None?
Nothing.
Really? Okay. So fast forward a couple of years, because, you may go down there and average 20 a game as a freshman, but let's give you a year to get acclimated to the college game. Who's going to be a bigger star on campus, Brittany Morrow or Trey Morrow?
Me.
Yeah, I feel like that's a fair answer, because Austin Morrow told us for years that you were going to be the better player in the Morrow family. All right, now let's talk soccer. You guys started off 2-0. Had a little bit of a rough week last week. Fell to Anderson County on Tuesday night and then lost on Thursday night. Tomorrow night you're going to play Clinton. Thursday night you're going to finally be back at home against Gibbs. So a couple more district games this week. And Autumn, I know Coach Henry was a little bit hard on you guys last week after that Anderson County game. Thursday was just really weird. Fell 4-1 to Oliver Springs, a weird game. You had to play with 10 after a red card was issued in that game. But do you feel like you started to get back on track a little bit Thursday night?
I feel like we did play a ton better. Like, we were a lot better. We moved some people around, but then once we had to play down after the 2 own goals, we started deteriorating on ourselves.
Yeah, and it was, now correct me if I'm wrong, it was 2-1. I think they started off 1-0 on an own goal. Brittany tied it up, then another own goal, and it was 2-1. And that is when you had to play down, and there's no really coming back from that at that point. So up to then, y'all, though, much better than against Anderson County on Tuesday.
We was much better.
Okay, so Brittany, what do you guys got to do to improve even more as you get ready to go to Clinton tomorrow night?
Well, the first thing we had to play the team. Because lately, since, the Union County game?
It was Lenore City.
Oh, yeah, we haven't played like a team since then. So, yeah.
So you have become, you are the leading goal scorer for Sky High this season. Now, anybody who's played soccer knows that soccer is a team game. You know, nobody can score a goal. Very few players can take the ball the length of the field and score. You rely on your teammates to set you up. But did you see yourself as the offensive threat coming into this season?
No.
I mean, because you took a year off, so this was your first time on the soccer field in a while. And let me ask you about that. What made you get back out on the field this year?
I don't know, I just missed it. I wanted to play last year, but I got hurt, so I didn't.
Autumn, tell us about where you're at, where you're fitting in your senior year with the Sky High team. I think you're also starting maybe on the wing?
I was starting at forward, and then I got moved to wing, and now I'm back at center mid where I finished the season last year.
So if you keep going in that direction, you're going to be like Larissa and Cameron and be in the goal, right, before it's all said and done?
Oh, yeah.
Probably not. You're a little bit short to play goal, right?
I could definitely do it.
Bella
goal.
plays goal. I mean,
I could definitely do it.
So where do you prefer to be?
I like to be in the center mid position. I feel like I see the field a lot better when I'm in the middle. And moving to the ball is like a thing I like to do, winning the balls in the middle. That's usually why I'm there, is to win the balls and try to get it up.
You play basketball as well as soccer, and I said Coach Henry was tough on you guys last week. You both have had a while now under Coach Rusty Aiden as your new basketball coach. So I want to know who yells the most. Who yells at you the most, Eric Henry or Rusty Aiden?
We have not been at basketball because Henry does not want us there.
Right. Oh, he will not.
He wants us to not get hurt, so Coach Aiden is very mindful of that. He
seems a little selfish on Eric Henry's part, though. I'm kidding. It's a joke. So what's your anticipation? I mean, you've watched Rusty Aiden coach the boys. Do you think you're going to get yelled at a little bit?
I'd say we definitely will, but he doesn't do it just to yell. He does it to help us.
100%. I agree with you. Rick?
If I'm not mistaken, both of y'all also play softball too, right?
I don't play softball.
You don't play
anymore.
softball. Oh, okay. But you do. What's it like going from sport to sport to sport? There's no time off in there. How do you manage the schedule?
To be honest, I don't know. I just go with it.
Mom used to get you there, but now you can drive and get yourself there, so it's no problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Autumn, you did play softball once upon a time, didn't you? And you're not going to play this year?
I didn't play last year. I switched to track, and I'm running cross country and doing track and soccer and basketball.
Will Coach Henry let you run cross country now and soccer at the same time? He will do that?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, double standard here, Henry.
Well, he really doesn't have a choice with cross country because it's in season. Basketball technically is not in season.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, there you go.
It's the first time, the only time I'm going to defend Eric Henry.
Mark that down. Highlight that spot right there.
the answer is, though, that he yells more now since he's the only one y'all are around, right? So we do have the answer to the question.
Rusty Aiden does not make them run around the court with the ball over their head either. Now, come on. I mean, at least I haven't seen that. Now, he might break that out this year when he's got two teams and he really gets frustrated.
Who else? I'll start with Autumn. Who else on the team? Who do you look forward to? Who do you think is a good leader on the team? If it's not a senior, is it a junior, somebody else? Tell us who the leaders are on the team.
I feel like Kyla has stepped up a lot, And also Haley has stepped up a lot too. They both had to step up this year. They're the only. There's 3 juniors, isn't there?
I thought there was 2.
Might just be 2.
So
No, there's 3.
So it's a lot of seniors, not many juniors, but a bunch of sophomores. Is that it? Who do you think has been a leader other than the seniors? That's a junior or a sophomore that we need to be watching for in the
I
few
agree
next
with
season.
her. Colin Haley.
Colin Haley. Okay. If you had your choice, is there another position you would play on the pitch?
No.
Okay. You're also known as Hat Trick, right? Are they calling you Hat Trick now?
No.
No, they're not calling you. By the way, she did have a hat trick in an earlier game this season, and that's quite an accomplishment, so congratulations on that. As you're looking at your schedule this week, I think you got 2 games this week, correct? Tomorrow night and Thursday night. Who do you play each one of those nights, Autumn?
Tomorrow we play Clinton, and then Thursday we play Gibbs.
Okay. Are those district games? Both district games. What do you know about the 2 schools? Who's the tougher opponent?
I think they're both pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to guess, it's probably Gibbs.
You think Gibbs is the toughest?
Yeah.
Is that who you wanna go out and really play and perform the best against? The best of the best.
Well, yeah, but
But
both teams.
Both teams, okay. How about you, Alam? Do you have a preference which team you would like to play, which team you would like to beat if you cannot win both games?
I feel more like I would want to beat Clinton just because they're Clinton. We don't really like them.
I feel like that's the correct answer.
That is. I was wondering if we were going to go there like that. So it's Clinton tomorrow night. Okay. Coach Henry had you practice today. What does he want the team to accomplish tomorrow night? Is it all about defense? Or are we going to try to be more aggressive offensively? Brittany?
Well, first thing is we don't need a stab, which is the main thing we do. And we just need to win.
Okay. Autumn?
He wants us to play more as a team, like move as a team. That means our defense has to be better, our passing has to be better, our movement without the ball has to be a lot better. So I feel like we need to be better all across the field.
Well, Coach Henry, has he received a red card yet this year?
No. No, but he's had many warnings.
Correct answer. Right.
I got a text from Eric Henry a minute ago, and he asked to call in and defend himself and threatened to revoke our press credentials to Scott High Soccer if we make one more comparison between him and Rusty Yaden. And then Autumn throws that out there, and now we're really in trouble. And thanks, Autumn. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
It is what it is.
So you guys tomorrow night play Clinton. That game will be at Clinton. It'll be at 7 o'clock if you want to see Scott High in action. Thursday night, back at home after a couple of weeks away. Tell us, one of you guys, what time that game against Gibbs starts on Thursday.
Pretty sure it's 6:30.
6:30, I think so as well. All right, 6:30. That game will be on the soccer field. And that will be your last game this season on the soccer field, am I correct? Because you're going to move over to Highlander Stadium after that.
He hasn't said for sure if we're on the soccer field Thursday or not.
Oh, so he's still working on Billy Hall. Yeah. All right. Well, good luck. Well, before I say good luck, I should ask, where would you prefer to play? Grass or turf? You want to play turf? I think everybody would probably agree with that. Would you agree with that, Autumn?
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So good luck, Coach Henry, Thursday night. Hope you can win that battle, get that game against Gibbs on the turf. Autumn Brummett, Brittany Morrow, good luck tomorrow night at Clinton. And we're going to take another break. When we return, the second half of the roundtable as we switch back to football. Welcome back to the roundtable on the IHS Sports Network as we begin hour number 2 of tonight's show alongside Tim Smith and Rick Keaton. I'm Ben Garrett. Before we get to our scholar athlete for this week, Rick, let's just kind of visit back to our last segment and wrap up soccer. I got a text from Coach Henry, and he didn't tell me I couldn't announce this, and since he texted me, I'm assuming I can, and that is Thursday's game against Gibbs will be on the football field.
Since they're playing the JV football contest Saturday night, I thought he might change. So.
Yeah, so he won the battle, I guess, assuming it was a battle. But, it's Thursday night, so that'll be fun. Get out and get that look at the field, at the turf if you're not there tonight. And obviously, if you're watching this, you're not there tonight. Thursday will be your first look at that turf before football takes it on. Now, switching from soccer, we are joined by our our scholar athlete, and we have got Scott High senior Hannah Bates with us, and this is not Hannah's first time on the roundtable. You joined us last year to help us pick the winners of the games last year, but we appreciate having you back tonight. Jillian Cross was our Oneida scholar athlete. She could not be here. She has class at Roane State on Monday night, doing what scholars should be doing.
Yeah. But you can go back and watch last Monday and hear Jillian.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Hannah, 4.0 GPA, first of all, right? Am I right about that? What is your plans after high school? What are you going to major in?
I want to be a ultrasound technician, so I'm thinking about going into that. I don't know what college yet, but it's been stuck with me for 2 or 3 years about being an ultrasound technician.
And you're a cheerleader, and I probably mentioned that, but just in case I forgot, you remember the Scott High cheerleading squad. One of the seniors on that squad this year, Rick.
Do you participate in any other sports?
No, just cheer.
Just cheer? Football or basketball? Tim's going to ask it later. I'm going to beat him to it. Do you have a preference?
Basketball.
Basketball. Why?
For one, is the weather's always the same, so it's never going to be too hot or too cold. And also because it really echoes, so we don't have to scream as loud and hurt our voices.
Let's get the cheerleader perspective a little bit. New turf surface down there. Cheerleaders are going to be in a little different location. You're not going to be right in front of the stands. You're going to be actually down on the turf. What do you and the rest of your cheerleading mates, what do y'all think about moving down there? Because I think you can do more routines there.
We can. We can also do more stunts there, and since we're going to be right in front of the student section, we can interact with them a lot more and do a lot more interactive cheers with them.
We've had some awful good football student sections over the years. It's hard to tell this year because we've never had a home game yet. But do you think that student section is going to be as active for this game against Knox Central on Friday?
Yeah.
Who are some of the characters we should watch for, because we do a fan of the game. So it can be the student, it could be the adult, it can be whatever. So I guess we should say the first game on the turf field, we're watching the fans because we're going to have a fan of the game. So who do you think some of the students are, Hannah, that you look forward to being a coonskin crazy on Friday night?
I'm not really sure, but I know last year Josh Burge and Aiden Roberts was a big part, and then Clayton Carroll one year. And a lot of people are talking about taking his place, and who it may be.
Clayton was a hard act to follow. Of course, Aiden's going to be on the football field, so we can't rely on him. So is there going to be any type of pep rally this week before the game so that you can start finding
Yeah, we have a pep
leaders?
rally Friday during school.
Okay, that's interesting. Let's talk about your 4.0 scholar athlete. What's been your favorite subject or subjects through your high school?
So far, personal finance and economics with Ben Allen. I have him this year.
Through your high school career, you want to shout out 2 or 3 teachers that you've had that has helped you, whether it be just academically or personally?
One of them would definitely be Daisy Williams. I've heard for applied math concepts this year. Really grabs the students' attentions and helps understand math if you don't get it, and she'll help you one-on-one. I'm not really sure about any other.
Well, that's a good shout out. You're dual credit.
Yes.
This year. What subjects are you taking right now in dual credits?
Right now, I'm taking college psychology 2 and then English comp 1 this semester.
So you're trying to get that out of your way before you actually graduate in May.
Yeah.
What do you look forward to when May gets here and it's graduation time? Are you going to be all remorseful like, oh, I hate it that I'm graduating? What do you look forward to?
I'm not sure. Just getting a grip onto reality hasn't set in yet.
Who are some of your friends that you're sharing this senior year with that you can't wait to see them walk across the stage with you?
Isabella Sharp and then Abigail Henson, which I call her Abby and Bella.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you've got that connection going pretty well. since you won't be here in the cheerleader segment, we'll put you on the spot. Who's going to win Friday night? You're the scholar athlete. You should have this figured out. You've analyzed everything. Who's going to win Friday night?
I hope us.
Okay, there you go.
Greg Bond said I did a horrible job last segment, so I'm gonna try to pick it up here. Okay, Hannah, I need your help. Okay.
Okay.
All right, here we go. First up, who are your parents?
Michelle and Scott Bates.
Which one did you get your intelligence from?
Whoa.
We're trying to make controversial TV. I'm trying to get people to watch, okay? So who was it? Which one?
Probably my dad some, and then also my mom in some subjects.
Okay.
Good answer.
Yeah, that is. So let me ask you this. You're studying college psychology right now. Psychology 2, did you say?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You've been sitting here with us for 5 minutes. What are our deep-rooted problems that you can just tell by looking at us?
Don't share mine.
Wait just a second. I've got more than one, so this could be a whole new segment.
Maybe we shouldn't do that one. No. What interests you about the psychology?
I'm not really sure what really interests me. I just saw it as an option, and I didn't really know what it was at that time, so I just went ahead and took it, and I liked it, so I took the 2. And the 2 is actually an intro to, like, the human life.
Gotcha.
So, like, from birth, all the way up until adulthood.
Who teaches that?
It is Tanisha Key.
Tanisha Key. Is that like on a screen, or are you actually in the room?
She comes in person
okay.
on Tuesday and Thursdays with me.
Okay. You shouted out a teacher, all right, Ben Allen. Now I'm going to ask you, I want you to be honest with me here, okay? I know Ben very well. And with NCAA football having come out, has his teaching dropped off? Because he's staying up late playing that game. He's coming in bleary-eyed. How's he doing in the class? And be honest with us.
I have him for 4th period, so he's always
awake by then?
Yeah.
Or he's always asleep
he's
by
recycling.
then.
He sleeps through the first 3 periods. All right. Ben's a great guy. All Bens are great guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Here, psychoanalyze that.
Yeah.
So, but congratulations on the scholar athlete. It's hard. And it's so easy to just get in crews and not hit those grades like you should. But thank you for going into healthcare too, because so many people aren't. And thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
So let me ask you this before you leave. And we had this argument 2 years ago. I wore out this argument 2 years ago to the point.
I thought we were never going to ask you.
No, hang on.
Okay.
To the point that Tim told me not to ever ask again about cheerleading being a sport versus not a sport. I'm not asking that question. I'm setting up my question, Rick. Give me a minute. So we're not. But my point is, a cheerleader has to practice just like a football player does, basketball player, soccer player, whatever, just like a band member does. And yet you still got a 4.0 in the classroom. How hard is it to maintain a 4.0 grade point average while you are participating in the extracurricular activities at school?
Some nights it can be hard because they'll want something done like the next day or by Monday next week. And when they'll assign it like normally Thursdays or Fridays, and it'll be hard because that's the game nights, and then practice is Tuesday, Thursday until 4:30. And so sometimes it can be hard on some nights, and some other nights, whenever nothing's going on, it's easy.
So, Mr. Allen, please make your assignments on Monday from here on out.
There's the word.
If you could.
There's the word.
I know he doesn't want to grade through the week because he's staying up playing the game.
So, and that's why we're doing this scholar athlete segment this year, and I'm glad we are, because it is tough to be an athlete and maintain that high GPA. I was never a scholar or anything, but I watched my 2 kids who were both scholars, and strangely enough, they didn't get that from me, but watch them balance the course load versus the practice and all that. So congratulations on 4.0 GPA, and good luck the rest of the season.
And with your careers, ultrasound tech.
Absolutely. We'll take another break, and we're back to football when we return on the roundtable. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. As we continue tonight, we're flipping back over to football now, and we've got our Sky High Superlatives with us from Friday's game, and that is our player of the game, our First National Bank player of the game, Lucas Bowles, and our Trophy Masters lineman of the game, Braden Potter. Thank both of you, first of all, for joining us tonight. And Lucas, first of all, I will say it's easier to pick out the statistics for a player of the game because that's what it's based on. Usually, honestly, is strictly statistics. You had a huge game defensively, recovered a fumble, and also an interception, and led the team in tackles Friday night, or led or were second in tackles on Friday night. So you had a good game. Brayton, I don't remember. I know you had a good game Friday, but the game that stood out to me was the game the week before where you pancake blocked everybody on the football field. But also a good game for you on Friday night. So thank you both of you for being here, Rick.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. I want to start with Braden. First of all, you had to miss the first game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because of injuries. You're fully healthy now, and obviously you were released and get back. I know it's tough to miss that first game, but what did it feel like to actually get the start? And you've been playing the center position the last 2 games. What did it feel like to finally get back?
It felt amazing to be back. I really didn't want to miss out on the season after working so hard during the summer and all that. So, yeah, it felt real good to be back.
I think with you in the center position, I think it's made our whole offensive line a little bit better.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it definitely helped out a lot. We got Jaden Parra now at tackle.
And he's just a freshman?
He is just a freshman, and he's doing amazing.
Yes. And how about the other guys, the guys to your left? You got Eli and Hayden. They're a load. They can bring a load.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Who has been some of through your high school career, who have you looked up to as a player? Who helped you develop as a lineman?
Gavin Terry was a good one. Yeah, Gavin Terry.
Okay. Swinging over to Lucas. You got the first start of the season down in Cumberland County. Got switched around a little bit and maybe slid off to the side a little bit for game 2. But game 3, you were given the opportunity. Tell us about the game, Lucas, because it seemed like if you weren't in on the tackle, you were right there. You chased the ball well.
Yes, sir. I was like that night before I was watching film pretty much till like 2 in the morning, and I just knew I had to go out there and be good, no matter the outcome of it. Just go out there and play the best I could. So.
How do you find yourself in position? I mean, the interception and then the fumble recovery. How do you find yourself in that I mean, that's 2 different kind of takeaways.
Yeah.
How do you find yourself in that position?
So the interception, it was really Desmond Bowling. He knocked the receiver off his route, and I was just there to get it. And then on the fumble, everybody just swarmed it. And coach tells us, like, once you wrap up and he has the ball like this, hit it with your helmet. So one of our players did that. I seen the ball, jumped on it. And so, yeah, I was just right time.
We've asked this question before. Who is the leader, whether it be the verbal leader or the action leader? Who's the leader on that defensive unit?
Probably Desmond Bowling and like Brett Hall and them. They're juniors. They're real good. Like they like always make sure the freshmen are doing what they're supposed to, not throwing the football in the locker room. They're making sure like we run when we're supposed to, and they're the leaders of the team there.
So far, I think every time I've asked one of our athletes here, everybody's mentioned Desmond.
Yeah.
And he's got a nickname that I can never remember. I'm getting better at it. I want to call him Squid, but that's not his nickname. It's Sigmund. Sig or Sigmund. I mean, that's his and I guess I'll ask you, Brad. Is he the smart dude on the team? Everybody says that's the way he got the Sigmund name.
I guess you can call him that.
Okay. Don't say, I guess you can call him that and do this right here. But he is a nice vocal leader at practice also, right?
He is.
Yeah.
He really is.
Have you got a chance to play on defense yet?
Yeah.
Have a preference, offense or defensive line?
Defense. You get more opportunities, I feel like.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Who else do you like on it? Talking about Lucas, who else do you like on the defensive unit as far as, I'm sure you'll say Desmond as a leader, but who else do you like being on that side of the ball playing with?
Definitely Micah Bowles. He's a dog, honestly. Gus King, he's also one of them too. And Desmond's really good. He's got the football intelligence. He's like that, yeah.
He mentioned Micah. He worked real hard from last season to this season to get football ready.
Oh, yeah.
Did you tag along? Did you work just as hard as he did?
Oh yeah, like he was. I didn't do it as often, but he was up every morning it's like 6 in the morning, just head to the gym. He was always like doing something outside, like involving like a football, running. Just he was all over it. I mean, I did it, but not as much as he did. But he's definitely he's improved a lot. He has.
He's a junior.
Yeah.
You're a
Senior.
senior. So will he continue to develop and grow between now and next year, you think?
Yeah, I think he will. It's just I think he has that mindset to where he doesn't think he's good enough. Like, I'm not saying like he thinks when he does good, he doesn't think it's enough. So he's just always going to have that mindset to keep going, and I think he'll get better. Yeah.
What better way to find out about somebody than to bring in the family like that? It's not an entirely new coaching staff, but you got a new head coach and a couple of other coaches in there. Each one of you, tell me about this coaching staff. Tell me something you like about this coaching staff, and who gets on you the most, I guess, Braden, is
Bill Hall. Bill Hall.
He does bring a different kind of energy for
most
being the how's the proper way to put this? The much older coach on the staff than everybody else.
He's got that older coach mentality too to him.
And that is he stepped in. That's his function, to be an offensive and defensive line coach, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about the coaching staff as a whole? What have they brought to the team? The changes. I know there's been a lot of changes because I talked with Coach Billy Hall about this a lot. There's been a lot of changes. What are two or three things you see that they've changed from previous coaching staff that this coaching staff brings to practice and then brings to games on Friday night?
They definitely push us and thrive us to be the best we can, no matter what. They teach us to have a good mindset coming into a game, and just be good overall.
Other than Coach Hall, who's the other coach that runs around and shouts all the time?
Mason Owens. Yeah, Mason Owens.
And Mason works outside the school system. He's got a job, so he doesn't get there at like 4:30. So does he make up for that?
You can definitely see the difference in the corners, the amount of interceptions we got. You can just see it.
That's the same question to you, Lucas, from a coaching staff perspective.
I think it's just that they care. They care a lot more than I feel like the previous coaches have. They not only on the football field, but they want us to do better as human, people. And I think that just feels like a void for most of the people on the football team. And then who gets onto us the most, definitely Bill Hall and Mason Owens. I'm a safety, so I'm usually with Mason Owens, and he doesn't get there until 4:30. But when he gets there, he's there.
But he's very hands-on instructing. He comes over to the corners. I watch him do this all the time in practice. He comes over to them and says, you need to lean this way more.
Yeah.
You need to get set. Tell me a little bit more about Mason and why you like him as a secondary coach.
Oh, man, just because, he was good in high school. So, in college, I guess, so he just wants us to, everything he learned from then, he shows us. So, if we miss, if we don't take the right step, he's going to tell us, the little things pretty much, he just makes sure we do the little things, and then our assignments for sure, he makes sure we do our assignments. And so
I'm going to ask this question here, and I'll let the other guys pitch in. Other than a family member, it's okay with you. Other than a family member, who do each one of you want to see have a good game on Friday night, and why?
Hunter Lawson. I'd like to see him have a good game. He's there, but he's more of one of the smaller guys on the line, but he'll run at you 100 miles per hour and just hit you as hard as he can. So I'm hoping he has a good game, for sure. I'm hoping he has a good game.
Right.
Probably Michael Bond. He's just always been a best friend to me and always been there.
We're still waiting on his sort of breakout game, and I'm like you. I'd like to see him finally have that breakout game. But those are two good answers, guys.
Yes,
appreciate that. Tim, anything with Braden, Lucas?
I would like to ask this. So what do you feel like was most improved this week from the week before? What's something that in week 3 against Clinton, because some pieces were coming together in that first quarter or first half, what were some things that were much better than the week before this last week?
I feel like the defensive side of the ball definitely got better. Offensive side, we're still working on things, trying to get together, but we learned how to rally to the ball and, just get things moving, especially.
Right. And so now this week, what would you like to see make that step forward this week when Knox Central Kentucky comes down in here? What needs to take that step forward?
Definitely our defensive line. We're putting in a bigger front because they like to run the ball. So, I'm hoping they step up and definitely our offense, get the offense going a little bit, get Michael Bond the ball a lot, let him do his thing, and just hopefully go out there with the adversity and intensity we did against Clinton and hopefully get some things going.
So, Lucas, we talked about this before we came on the air, and I don't think anybody had an answer, and you may not either, but Mason Akers, was he able to practice today? Do you know what his status is?
Oh, yeah, he was practicing today.
Great
I'm
news.
glad to hear that. All right, so I got one more question for you in a minute, but I got to ask you, Braden, because I've always been curious about this. As a center, when I went back in not that I played football at all, certainly didn't play center, but in my day, this spread offense hadn't come along yet. And quarterbacks sometimes went into a shotgun, but there was a lot of under center. And now it's almost exclusively shotgun for a lot of teams, including your team. Is it harder to snap the ball in the shotgun as it is when the quarterback's under center, first of all? And
well, there's there's a lot of factors that go into it, especially if you got like a nose guard on you during the game. Clinton, they ran a nose guard. He was a big dude, massive, and he pressed up on me, and I just tried to get the ball down and out to the QB as fast as I could. But I started slowing down on the snaps, so I really need to work on that some more. But other than that, yeah, it's a little bit hard, but I'll just get used to it.
it just seems to me like that. It's everybody in the stands and in the press box. We talk about quarterbacks and running backs and the pressure that's on them, right? It seems to me that there's more pressure on the center than anybody, because especially when your quarterback's in the shotgun, because you got to position that ball just right. You can't snap it too high. You can't snap it too hard. And you mentioned a nose guard being across from you. You're really at a disadvantage because you got those big guys breathing on you and just wanting to knock you off your feet. And it takes you a split second to recover and block them, doesn't it, versus a tackle or a guard?
Yes. You can, it's definitely harder to get off the ball with being a center because, I don't know, it's weird, but it's definitely harder to get off the ball.
Okay, so we asked Lucas, you weren't here before the show, and we asked Lucas who is the best bowls athlete. So I'm not going to tell you what Lucas's answer was. I want you to answer that because you're not biased like he might be.
Adam Bowles.
Okay.
Adam Bowles.
All right. So not Lucas or Micah.
No.
So do you think next week we might have Adam on?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Adam will definitely be on here.
Okay. All right. So, Lucas, a question for you. I may not be allowed to answer this, and Daryl Bowles was here, but he has stepped out, so I'm going to ask. And we've been having this argument the last couple of weeks since Daryl just about climbed over 3 people to whoop my rear end in the press box, and he would have when I said he was slow over at Eagleton the other night. And so since then we've been having this argument, who's faster, Micah in his prime, which is right now, versus Daryl when he was in his prime, which was like 30 years ago or whatever. Who's faster?
Micah. I don't see that man ever being fast in his life. To be
That's
honest
what
with you.
I'm saying.
I don't know that.
Nice job, Luke.
Yeah.
He said we should ask Robert Wright, so maybe we should just ask Robert Wright.
I like Lucas's answer better.
Sure.
Heard he was a mean linebacker, though. That's what I heard. But speed,
Did he tell you that?
Yeah.
That's what.
Come on.
Lucas Bowles and Braden Potter, thank you guys for joining us, and good luck this Friday night as you play your first home game against Knox Central. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll flip to Oneida football on the roundtable. We're back on the roundtable on the IH Sports Network alongside Tim Smith and Rick Keaton. I'm Ben Garrett. One more time, let me thank our sponsors of the roundtable, and they include Little's Drugs and Fountain, Twin K Construction, South Fork Physical Therapy, El Rey, Razax, Lumber King, Danny's Drugs, TNT Car Wash, Tommy's Motorsports, Scenic Foods, Mountain People's Health Councils, and First National Bank. We certainly appreciate them, and we appreciate these two Oneida players who are joining us now. Our First National Bank player of the game from Friday night, Grady Keaton, and our Trophy Masters lineman of the game, Brady Burke. And Brady has been on here before as a football player. Obviously, Grady has too as a basketball player, so neither one of you guys are strangers to us. First of all, and Tim, before I throw it to you, we talked about Lucas Bowles from Scott High having a big night defensively. Grady had a touchdown catch and 3 catches, so it's not like he was a non-factor on offense, obviously, but a huge night defensively as well with, I think, 10 tackles and the forced fumble on Friday night against a good Eagleton team.
10 tackles, pulling the full Travis Hunter there on both sides of the ball. So I'll start with you, Grady. I just want to ask you first, was there a hesitation to come out this year, or were you like, I'm playing football next year? What brought the decision about?
Honestly, I was full tilt. I was going to play as soon as my sophomore year was over, I was definitely going to play some football this year.
So was it always the plan, or?
I was kind of iffy my sophomore year. I kind of decided to focus on basketball since it was my brother's senior year, and there's some tough teams entering our district, so I just decided to focus on basketball. But I was pretty certain I was going to play my junior year after that.
So far, pretty glad you did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
3 games in.
I enjoy it, yeah.
Going pretty good. So, First National Bank Player of the Game in Week 3 already. And then, Brady, you're the Trophy Masters Offensive Lineman of the game. So, I'm going to bounce back and forth on the questions here. But my questions have revolved around health. And I was told that Xander Lau was on crutches maybe, but he's got a sprained ankle, and he should hopefully return.
Yeah, he should be back. It was a high ankle sprain, I think.
All right. And so Brock Ryan's here. He doesn't have any results on some tests and things, but we're crossing our fingers because Brock and Gabe have been a great duo at the quarterback, and Brock had the touchdown pass that helped Grady get sitting up here. The offensive line hasn't been the same each week. It's been different. There's been shuffling going on, and then Will Jeffers is injured. He's also got test results coming tomorrow, right?
Yeah, sometime this week.
Okay.
Really.
So, but he didn't return to the game, and it looked like it could be very serious. But this offensive line, all these changes that have gone on, talk a little bit about the different people coming in and what that's been like, and what's practice look like this week. Who's where?
Well, it's looking like Colton Searcy is going in there for Will Jeffers at left guard.
Okay.
And, Cam is at left tackle, I'm at right tackle, and Cage at center, and Evan Cotton's at right guard.
Okay. So it's just going to be a straight substitution there at the left guard.
Yeah.
And then Friday night, part of the reason you're here is because and these guys have seen him twice, and now we've seen him twice in football. Tyson Click, 44 for Eagleton. He's a handful, and you were lining up against him most of the night. What makes him so tough to deal with?
I think his motor. He's just all over the place. He was on a bunch of screens. He ran out there and made a tackle. So probably his motor.
Yeah. All right. So, Grady, what about playing this year? Has there been anything coming back this year that's been something that you didn't realize was going to be something you had to get better at, that you thought you would pick right back up, but you've had to work really hard to get back to?
I would just say like route running and blocking, but especially route running. It's just you got to work harder to get open. The last time I played was in middle school, so the defense wasn't nearly as what it is now. So I would say route running and speed. You got to be fast to get open, and just you got to get stronger, obviously. But I would say those 3.
So this past week you picked up more defensive snaps. These 10 tackles came because I believe it was Waylon that is hurt right now, and so that caused some shifting around. And so it seemed like they saw you were new out there, and they were going to come try to come at you last week. Did you feel that way? Did you feel picked on?
Well, it felt their first drive, they did throw it like 3 or 4 times that way, but I mean, I guess a little bit because they did throw it my way a lot, but yeah.
Then they figured out that wasn't working.
I guess so.
Yeah. What did you feel like was the toughest thing to defend about Eagleton?
The toughest thing, honestly, their QB draw. I felt like as a team was just hard to defend. I feel like they just their quarterback was fast and really athletic, and he would just get around the edge, and he gained a bunch of yards. And I felt like as a team that was probably our hardest thing to defend.
Okay, Brady. What about the running game for Oneida? We saw things getting going at times. It seemed like Jesse Zachary was picking up some bigger chunk plays there in it, but then late in the game, you all went into they called it Cowboy. Do you still call it Cowboy?
Yeah, we call it Cowboy.
Okay, so when you all jumped into that, it seemed like all of a sudden Eagleton was very confused, and you all were just getting chunk plays, play after play. What makes that formation so effective, do you think?
I think it's just being able to get the ball out there to the athletic guys on the edge and just letting them make a play.
Yeah. Is there anything particularly difficult about your assignment in that package as opposed to just the other ones that you run?
Well, usually in that package you're reach blocking a lot, and sometimes it can be hard when the defensive end is out there wide to reach them.
Yeah. So is reach blocking? It's a tougher situation than just the normal formations. Okay. Do you play much defense at all?
Yeah. I started on defense.
Okay.
But,
all right.
You know, Coach Martin's been trying to get me and Cam a little bit of rest.
Okay. So what about defending Eagleton? What was the toughest part for you on the defensive line?
Well, that center was pretty big.
Yeah.
And, you know, I got double teamed a lot. So it's kind of tough to get to the quarterback.
Still a shutout.
Yeah.
Right. And so what's the reward for a shutout for the defense now?
We get to eat pizza.
Okay. Well, that's pretty good. That's good stuff.
Great.
Oh, it was today?
Yeah, it was today.
All right. So, Grady, switching, you had the 10 tackles, but then you also had the touchdown catch. Talk us through that play with Brock. You were going into the south end zone there in the second quarter. I believe that was the first touchdown, right?
Yep.
Yep. So talk us through that play. What did you all see?
So I was on a dig route, and as soon as I went to line up, I seen the safety was pretty far off, and they were in man. And I thought maybe I could get open. And to be honest, when I was running the route, I was semi-open, but credit to Brock, he threw like a perfect ball, and it threaded the needle, like y'all said. And
yeah.
I was just there, yeah.
Yeah, they did say that. They actually say throw the needle. And that's,
yeah.
They do that on purpose because it's making fun of one of our friends. I know y'all don't make fun of each other but we have a friend that we were watching a football game one time, and he was saying, throw the needle, and we said the phrase is thread the needle.
Yeah.
So I don't want to call Jared Cotton out on the air and embarrass him like that. But that's why they say that. But anyway, he did. He absolutely threaded the needle. There was two guys there converging. But now it's hard to get it through those guys, but you've got to have the concentration, and also they might hit you, right?
Yeah.
And they did.
Yeah. I think one hit me in the back, but yeah.
So you held on to it for the touchdown. Tell me something. Have you watched any tape of Dad playing football?
My dad? No.
Really?
I think he was a kicker. So
yeah,
I've not watched any PATs or field goals that he's had.
Well, I bet Sharon has a few.
Yeah, she could probably show me a few.
Yeah, remind me to show you. We've got a preseason thing where he runs up Calkeek, number 2.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you've seen that part at least.
Yeah.
All right, Brady. This week, it's region time.
Yep.
Wartburg always plays tough. Last year they had y'all down 12-0. As you get close to half, what's got to be different this year? What do you have to do to go out there and from start to finish take care of the Bulldogs at their place?
I think we just got to be physical, you know, especially on the offensive defensive line because they're pretty big.
Okay.
So I think if we can just get in there and establish a running game, we'll be good.
Are they big and fast or just mostly big?
They're a little bit both.
A little bit both? Okay. So if you were choosing the formation to attack Wartburg with these different things we've talked about where you've had the eye, you've had the shotgun, you have the cowboy that looked so good on Friday night, what do you think would be the most effective formation against this team?
I don't really know. I'd leave that up to Coach.
You're going to leave it to him?
Block.
That's very diplomatic. I suppose you're going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then let me ask it this way. What formation are you most excited about? Because if you're in the cowboy, that means you're at a wing back coming in motion. You might be running the football. Do you like running the football just as much as going out and playing receiver?
Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy just getting the ball, but I would say I enjoy just catching it probably better than running it. But yeah, I really don't care.
What about defensively? What are we looking at from Wartburg?
What are we going to run against them?
What are you going to have to deal with? What are they going to do offensively against you guys? I know they got a good quarterback, right?
They throw from what the film we watched today. They throw it a lot, and they line up like 4 receivers on one side, and they do a lot of that. But they have one receiver. His name is Queenie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Landon.
Landon Queenie. He was a good basketball player too.
Yeah.
It sounds like they throw it up to him a lot, and he had 2 touchdowns in like triple coverage. So
yeah,
I think if we take care of him, though, we'll be.
I think their quarterback had them in the middle school championship a couple of years ago. So yeah, they're no joke offensively. He's pretty good. What's going to be your challenge to try to stop Wartburg?
Probably just blocking that big D line they got.
Okay. All right. You feeling good about it though?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. What was the thing that was most improved from last week to this, from the Coalfield week to this last week? What do you feel like was the biggest step forward Oneida took?
I think on the defensive line, just not getting moved back. We did a lot better at that versus Eagleton.
Okay. What do you think you have to do this week going forward, offensively to 13 points against Eagleton, and is moving it late, but still is just 13 points. What do we got to do to score more points?
Just limit mistakes, limit flags, and just get good yards on offense. We got to block better, and I think if we block better, looking back on the film, if we block better, I think we can gain more yards and be more productive on offense.
Brock, does he come back to you all the time? I was open on that play. That's not Grady? Okay. All right. I'm just curious. I'm always curious about a receiver like that.
Just one thing I would like to ask them both. And I like to ask some football players this, which teammate would you like to see step up and have a really good game this week, Brady?
Probably Brylan Strunk. He's a freshman on the D-line. I'd like to see him have a good game.
Great.
I would say Jesse Zachary. I feel like he can get around the edge and make some sacks this game and get some good yards on offense.
When I watch the replay and I'm watching Jesse, he's just a big, strong beast type guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I'm very impressed by what he does defensively. So. Yeah.
Grady, favorite coach, Jimmy May or Jacob? No, I'm just kidding. Don't answer that. No, it occurred to me as I was sitting here, and Tim mentioned your father, Kyle Keaton, and he was a kicker at Scott High during his high school days, and he didn't start playing.
Are you going to ask if a kicker's an athlete?
No.
Okay.
Just hush, Tim. I don't know if he played his junior year or if he waited till his senior year, but I know he did not play as a freshman or sophomore, I don't think. He started late. So is this by design with you Keaton guys? You just wait until you're like a junior or senior, and then you come – because once he got out, he was a fantastic kicker. Once you've joined the football team, you're a fantastic receiver and defender, as it turns out, from Friday night.
I guess so. I had no clue he didn't play till his junior year, but I guess it's passed down to me. So
well, and he may be sitting at home saying no. That Ben Garrett
I
was talking about, and that wouldn't surprise me. But as I recall, he didn't play until he was like.
You're probably right.
Yeah, so I hope I am. I got a question for Brady as well. And Brady, I feel like the most famous Burke in Scott County is Dustin Burke. Everybody knows Dustin. Tell me the relationship there between you guys. You don't know. Everybody.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah. It is the correct answer, but it kind of destroys what I was going to ask, and that is, if I get stopped, can I name drop you, and it's going to help me out? But I guess not.
Yeah, you go for it.
Okay, I'll try. I'll try. All right, guys. Brady, Trophy Masters has got a T-shirt coming your way at the end of the season, and Grady, you guys get hoodies and T-shirts for being player of the game from First National Bank. Now, unfortunately, I don't have your size, and this is 2 weeks in a row, by the way. And I was going to blame Shanika Birchfield. You guys know Shanika. That's Braden's mama. And then I realized the number 2 person in command at First National Bank is actually in our audience tonight here at the Technology Center. So if you want to go back there and get, I'm just kidding about that, not number 2. But anyway, we'll get your shirts to you Friday night, hopefully. But congratulations to our First National Bank player of the game and also Trophy Masters lineman of the game. Good luck against Wartburg Friday night. We'll take one more break and come back for our final segment right after this. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network for our final segment tonight. And as always, to close things out, we're joined by cheerleaders from both Scott High and Oneida. We've got with us Lydia Klein. She's a senior. And we've also got with us Emma Carroll. She's also a senior. And so first of all, thank both of you guys for joining us. And Lydia, I'll ask you first. You were a multi-sports person, basketball, soccer, all through high school. And all of a sudden, here you are as a cheerleader. So what prompted that change?
My knees, for sure, my knees.
So have you ever cheered prior to this, middle school,
No,
Storm? Never.
Never.
No. So is it everything that you thought it would be?
Yeah, I would say so. I did not think it was a sport before this, but I do think it is now.
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about that.
Confirmation.
So
We've been waiting on that where we didn't solicit that answer, right? Yeah. There we go.
So let's assume that your knees were healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Which would you choose? Knowing what you know now about cheerleading, and of course you know basketball and soccer, which would you choose? Cheerleading, or if you had to choose one, which would you choose? Cheerleading or basketball/soccer?
Well, I would say the right answer. I would have done both sooner. Is
Okay.
how I would answer that.
Okay.
But I love them both.
Everybody's very diplomatic tonight, and that's good. That's the way it should be. All right, we got with us from Scott High as well, Emma Carroll. And Emma, this is your second year as a cheerleader, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you're kind of a late bloomer as a cheerleader, just like Lydia. But did you cheer in high school? I don't remember your answer. I feel like we answered, or we asked you this last year. I don't remember your answer.
I did not cheer in high school. Last year was my first year.
So what made you decide I'm gonna go out and join
Just
the
a
cheer
lot of my
team?
friends were already on it, so they convinced me, and it's been a lot of fun. So I'm really glad I joined.
Okay, so now you dance, and maybe you dance as well. I don't think you
No.
do. But so which would you choose? I asked Lydia, does she prefer cheerleading or soccer, and she said both. Dance or cheerleading?
They're both a lot of fun, so I don't know if I could choose, but I think I would go farther with dance, so probably dance.
Okay.
So Lydia gave me permission to say this. I was talking to her before we went on the air, and I told her, and I apologize, but I can't talk to Lydia or without getting sad. It makes me sad to see Lydia talk, because I'm sad for what could have been in basketball. Lydia was having a breakout in basketball. She was a threat from beyond the arc. She was a defensive threat, and so you understand what I'm saying. It just makes me sad, but the basketball loss is the cheerleaders' gain.
Yeah.
and so I'm glad and that you have the smile through it. I can't smile through it anymore. I think Mom's agreeing with me back there. But what was the biggest transition? What was the biggest difference when you go from, because like you said, you had no choice. You had to go a different direction. And you could have been like me, just depressed about that and said, I'm not doing anything. But you said, no, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to cheer.
Yeah.
Talk about that decision and going into that.
It definitely took me a long time, and prayed about it a lot, and just I didn't want to just sit and do nothing. So I decided, the closest thing to play in would be being on the sideline.
Right.
So I get to do that, and I got pretty good at cheering while I was on the bench at basketball. So I'll just do it officially now.
All right, that's a good answer. So, is it something you may continue to try to do? I mean,
Maybe.
What are your goals? Where are you gonna go after high school?
I'm not for sure yet.
Okay, haven't picked a school. Do you
No.
know what you're gonna do? What you're
Yeah, I
gonna
want to
go
go
into?
into law school.
Law school.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, cheer wherever you are and go into law school. That sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
Emma's got two brothers, right?
Yes.
Older brother, football player. Younger brother, football player. Between the three of you, who's the best athlete? That's a loaded question
Yes,
for.
it is.
I mean,
Well, I think I have to say myself.
that's
I definitely
that's
would
the
not
correct.
agree, but-
That's the answer I was hoping that you would say.
Clayton
there, like,
Carroll cannot dance.
Well, no. I'm not sure your younger brother can either, but and he plays on the Huntsville Middle School team. Yes. Okay. So, I wasn't trying to get you to throw either one of them under the bus. I was getting you to try to step up and say, I'm the athlete in the family there. Mike and Elizabeth Carroll are your parents. They've been very involved with every one of their kids from this age, when they first play sports and everything. What do you like most about how they've encouraged their kids in terms of athletics?
I just like that even if we aren't too good at something in the beginning, they don't really give up on us. Because, like, for example, Clayton, he used to cry at every single football practice because he was hot.
Gosh, you did throw him under the bus.
Oh, I did not mean to. But he would cry every time, but they didn't let him give up. And so I think they've helped us learn that
Worked
you
out
can't
pretty
give
well
up.
for him, didn't it?
Worked
Yes,
out
it
real well.
did.
Yeah. Do you enjoy, since you got the brothers to play football, do you enjoy the football or the basketball side the most?
I think the basketball side, just because I understand it a lot more, and I like being that close to the court and being able to hear some of the players talk to each other is pretty fun. So,
But you're always in danger of somebody throwing a basketball and hitting you.
well, I like being in the action down there.
Okay.
So,
Maybe you should have been a basketball player.
oh, I don't know.
Okay. What do you hope to do after your high school career?
I would like to continue with dance, definitely, but I also want to become a speech pathologist. So I'm looking forward to it.
We're getting a lot of medical people.
Absolutely.
And we love that. Yeah.
So, so you haven't cheered in basketball yet, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So, do you have an idea of which one you think you're? I mean, how's football been? Okay.
It's been
Good?
awesome. Yeah,
Okay.
I love
Do you
it.
think
They all say that football's better, but I'm excited to see which I like better.
Well, I know Hannah Bates was here, and she said she liked
Yeah.
that. And to me, and this is not being rough to Wartburg, okay, but Wartburg has one of those in football, a press box like Eagleton has, where you're closed in and you don't have any of the sounds of the game on the outside, and it really takes away.
Yeah.
I mean, I think my energy is low because I don't have all of that atmosphere going, in the football games at Wartburg. That never happens in basketball.
Yeah.
And just when you're coming back from a commercial break in basketball and you hear those cheerleaders and the echoing, she mentioned the echoing, that made me think the same thing. So I think I think it's going to be basketball, but we'll see, right?
I think it's pretty cool. Like on the sideline, we stand right behind them, so we hear everything. And then like when they go to run out, like the energy when they're about to run out is so cool. So it's just been a really neat experience.
That's a good point, and probably just two different things.
Yeah.
With highlights for both. So the coaches, they're always real nice to the players in football, right?
Yeah, very nice.
Just making sure.
So, Lydia, we talked about soccer, and we've talked about basketball, and we've talked about cheering. Your dad is kind of into extreme sports. He's a dirt biker, horseback rider. Have you followed in his footsteps and that stuff?
I used to before the knees, but I take it pretty easy.
It's rough, isn't it?
It is.
I got into dirt biking, Tim, at an
remember.
older age, and I told everybody.
That's why you say Daryl Bowles would beat you today in a race. It's because of that.
Daryl would have probably beat me before that, if we're being honest. But he would certainly beat me now. But I'd name drop two people always when people would say, you have no business being on a dirt bike. You're too old for that. And I was. But I would say Scott Gilbert and Mark Klein ride dirt bikes, and they're both older than I am. And if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
But look at me. I'm hobbling around now, and Mark Klein is not.
Well, I think they went last weekend, so they might have you beat.
Oh, they definitely got me beat, without a doubt.
I want to ask Emma, first home game of the season. What's going on at school this week? What type? You doing anything extra other than the pep rally on Friday?
I think just the pep rally.
Okay. And you look forward to that home game?
Yes, I'm very excited.
Okay, good.
So Emma is Cooper Garrett's favorite cheerleader, and I know he's watching at home. Right, he was here earlier, but he went home. I know he's watching at home because he's a big Emma fan, mainly because she pays him extra attention. Cooper likes anybody who pays him attention.
Exactly.
But Emma, I've asked Clayton this before, and I asked him because Clayton's got this bubbly personality, and I got to say, Rick asked which one's the best athlete out of the family. Clayton is definitely the biggest talker out of the family, I feel like, and no offense to you because you like to talk as well, but Clayton talks, and he would talk to anybody. And I've asked him where he gets that from. And your dad's a preacher, pastor at Black Creek, and so obviously if you're going to preach, you got to talk a lot.
Yeah.
Clayton, though, says maybe that personality comes from Mom's side. Do you agree?
Yeah, they're all very, I hate to say loud, but they are very loud in a way.
So Mike, not so much so.
Mm-mm.
Is he loud in the pulpit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, guys, let's look ahead to Friday night's games. It should be a great week of football. And first of all, Oneida is going to be on the road at Wartburg. Now, we're not going to ask you to pick a winner because, we're ball biased. We want the home teams to win. But, Lydia, I'm going to ask you, as Oneida goes to Wartburg. Wartburg always plays Oneida tough. What's one thing Oneida has to do this week to win this game?
I would say keep doing what they're doing.
Okay. It seems to be working so far.
Yeah.
2 wins, and almost that third win. Nearly went to Coalfield and picked up a big win. And, Emma, I'll ask you the same question as Scott High gets ready for the home opener against Knox Central, Kentucky. And first of all, are you excited to finally have a home game?
Yes, I'm excited for the new turf.
Yeah, I think everybody is. And so the new turf, the flashing lights, and hopefully we get an opportunity to use those flashing lights.
There you see it right now.
Yeah, there's the thing from Scott High School right now where they've got a JV game going on. And what does Scott High have to do on Friday night against Knox Central to pull out a win?
I think just keep the energy up throughout the game.
Okay.
I think that'll help us win.
So you're saying if something goes wrong, apply more steam. Was that
Yes.
General Nealon's maxim, Tim Smith?
It
you
was.
would know. Yeah.
That was one.
All right. So let's look at the other games that are going on around the area. And not a lot of games because all the region teams are playing each other. And we'll start on my left side. And that's on Oneida's region. Bledsoe is going to be playing York Institute. And Bledsoe is off to a great start this season, Tim, at 3-0. York down, it looks like, from last year. Maybe a rebuilding year in Jamestown. They're 0-2 coming off a bye week. Bledsoe at York this week. Lydia, who would you take in that game?
Well, before you said that York's down, I was going to pick York, but I guess I'll pick Bledsoe.
It was a 4-point game a year ago. York made it to the semifinals, and only beat Bledsoe by 4 at Bledsoe. I think you're right. York's, I mean, down for York, but I mean they're still really
still
good.
pretty good.
And
Yeah.
Bledsoe was really good last year. They were only 4 points less than York, so I think it is going to be Bledsoe's year.
How about this side of the table? Bledsoe at York. Who are you taking, Emma?
I'll say Bledsoe.
Rick?
It's very hard to play at York, but I take Bledsoe.
It is.
It is very hard to play at York.
But they're
You're
both
right.
central.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard to play it either way.
So what Tim is saying is they both pull from the same pot of officials, right? Same association. Is that what you're getting at?
No, I'm not sure if they pull from the same association.
No, I don't think they're in the same association. No. All right, so it's unanimous. Bledsoe over York this week. I would agree with that. And the only other game in Oneida's region this week is Tellico Plains playing at Polk County. And now we know Polk County is solid, although they're off to a tough start. Got beat soundly by Walker Valley a couple of weeks ago. They're coming off a loss to Mid Central. Tellico Plains, Tim Smith looks for real. They go out and show off again last week, 29-0 over Sweetwater.
And if I read right, that was their first time going to Sweetwater and winning since 1962.
I think I read that.
So, I mean, that's older than me.
Just barely.
However,
I threw him under
Hold
the
up.
bus.
Before you go any further, which one of your crew again said Tellico Plains was going to be the easiest opponent on your schedule?
So, yeah, we're going to revisit that when we get home against Polk County. But we all took, it happened to be Bo Kid's turn, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. I'm just saying, we said, Bo, there's 10 teams. We started with number 10 and said, who is going to be the worst team on our schedule? And he slapped Tellico Plains right there down at the bottom, and they're 3-0. And I say all that, and then I'm going to tell you that I'm picking Polk County because I really like the Polk County coach, and I think that Tellico has overperformed, and I need to make up some ground on Toby Garrett.
Lydia, you don't have to listen to Tim. What do you
No,
think? Tellico Plains or Polk County?
I'm going to go Tellico.
Yeah, smart
that's a good
choice.
move.
How about this side of the table? What are we thinking? Tellico Plains or Polk County?
I'll go Tellico as well.
Tellico.
Tellico, 3-1. Tim is going to be wrong. So Tellico Plains over Polk County. All right, let's switch to the Scott High side of the table. Austin East is, by the way, Rick, and you talked about this the night of the Cumberland County game, the season opener, where everybody in the region lost. And it's just been a tough start to the region, which we didn't expect. Scott High's region, these 5 teams in this region, if you add them up, a combined 2-12 so far. Do you think anybody saw that coming?
No, I didn't.
No, I don't.
Whether or not I'm the expert, I'm certainly not the expert, but I didn't see that coming, no.
All right, so one of those teams that's still looking for their first win is Austin East, and they're going to be at Gatlinburg. And Gatlinburg's traditionally very tough. They look like they may be down just a little bit this year. They're coming off a 21-7 loss to Knox Carter, but Carter's pretty doggone good themselves. Emma, what would you take in that one? Which team would you take, I should say, Austin East or Gatlinburg?
I'll say Gatlinburg.
Okay.
Home team, Gatlinburg.
Yes, I agree, Gatlinburg.
I agree.
All right, so it's unanimous, Gatlinburg over Austin
But you
East.
didn't pick anybody.
I would have taken Gatlinburg
Okay.
as well, absolutely. Another team that is down, we think, it's been hard to figure out in the early going. Kingston started off by getting beat by Harriman, and we all said, whoa. Then they come back and they beat Oliver Springs, which had just knocked off defending state champion South Pitt. But since then, it's not gone well. Kingston got drilled by Meigs County last week, 48-13. They're playing at Union County. Union County had that horrific, scary injury to their quarterback. We understand he's going to be okay, but I don't think he's going to be able to go this week. Union County coming off a loss to Cosby. So, Emma, you got a winless Union County team versus a Kingston team that's going to be out for blood as they try to get last week's bad taste out of their mouth.
I'll go with Kingston.
And that game, Rick, by the way, is in Maynardville. Home game for Union County.
Kingston.
Okay. Didn't make a difference.
Okay. This one didn't, no.
No, okay.
Kingston.
Kingston. You guys are right. It's definitely Kingston will probably be able to I'm not going to say name their score, although, well,
I don't know.
With the
It's not
injury
going to be
situation,
still don't think it's going to be high scoring, but
we'll find out. That's the last game in Scott High's region. Now the game that matters to both sides of the table, and that is Tennessee. And Tennessee on Saturday night is playing Kent State. Vols up to number 7 in the polls after that big win over NC State Saturday night. Back at home this week at Neyland Stadium against Kent State. Now, I should mention that Tennessee's a 48.5-point favorite in that game, so nobody really expects it's going to be close. But just for the fun of it, let's see what we're thinking, Lydia. Let's not say
you could just ask us if they're going to cover the point spread.
That's where I was headed with that. I'm not going to ask you if Tennessee's going to win. I want to know how much Tennessee's going to win by against Kent State.
Oh, gosh. I want you to ask me if they're going to win.
Are they going to win?
Just ask her that.
Yeah, go Vols.
Okay. Good answer. Tim?
They'll cover the point spread.
All right. So are you a bettor? I
No,
shouldn't ask
I'm
you
not.
that, am I? That's
I am
not
not.
fair.
No.
All right. How about it? Can I ask you if they're going to cover?
Sure.
Tennessee's going to cover. So Tennessee's going to beat Kent State by 50, but you don't
49.
sound confident.
It only has to be 49.
You didn't sound very confident, Emma.
They will.
Okay.
They will win.
What do you think, Rick?
That's a big spread.
It is.
It's a huge spread.
Kent State to cover.
Oh, that's. Are you a Florida fan?
Nope.
I'm
just saying that what's going to happen. Nico plays the first half. He may only play the first quarter. Against Kent State. I mean, but he's going to be out there. Backup quarterback, I think he's capable, but not as prolific as scorer because he'll protect the wide receivers.
Money on this. He's thinking way too hard about it.
Listen, I'm not saying that Josh Heupel's going to run up the score, okay, but he has shown a tendency here and there to maybe want to capture those style points through the first 2 games of the season. And you have to with the new 12-team format because there are going to be teams with 2 losses that get into the playoffs, and Tennessee's probably going to be a team when you look at their schedule, no matter how good we think they are, they're going to have a couple of losses. So you got to impress the pollsters, do you know?
North Carolina State style points. Kent State, no style points.
You don't think 80 points would look impressive?
Hey, these ladies have school tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm taking the spread. That's what I was getting at. I'm taking Tennessee in the spread. All right. So Friday night, Oneida goes to Wartburg, 7:30 kickoff. Scott High hosting Knox Central, first home game of the season. That's at 7:30 as well. Our broadcasts will begin with the Baby J's Pizza pregame report at 6:30 from Oneida and 6:45 from Scott High. We'll see you on Friday. Thanks for watching, and good night.